The ghost of Archerfield Airport. On Brisbane's south side is its largest airfield, the Archerfield Airport, long ago known as the Archerfield Aerodrome. But not so many people know about the ghost, which wanders the terminal and the area around the airport, connected to one of the tragic air accidents that occurred here long ago. The ghost seen here at Archerfield Airport is described by people who work here, pilots, even passengers, as being dressed in the uniform worn by pilots from around the 1940s during the Second World War through to the early 1950s, around the time of the Korean War. The ghost has been seen walking among some of the buildings where the planes are stored, where maintenance is carried out. My favourite story is that the ghost appeared to a lady who was waiting as a passenger in the terminal back in the late 1960s when she was catching a plane to northern New South Wales. She was literally sitting inside the terminal when this man, quite handsome, she said, dressed in a very nice uniform, clearly a pilot, came and sat down next to her. She smiled at him, he smiled at her, and when she was leaving to catch the plane, she turned to just give him a wave goodbye, and he was gone. And she said there was nowhere he could have disappeared to. And she subsequently heard sometime later that the man she saw was the ghost of the Archerfield Airport. The other spot where the ghost of Archerfield Airport has been seen is within the grounds of God's Acre Cemetery, the wonderful little historic burial place right on the edge of the Archerfield Airport. It's been here a very long time. Amongst those buried here is a pilot who died in one of the tragic accidents here at the airport. Beady Road here that runs past Archerfield Airport is, during the week, Monday to Friday, one of the busiest roads on the south side of Brisbane. But at night time, it is absolutely dead quiet, especially the strip that runs past God's Acre Cemetery here. The road is as silent as the grave. And it's at night from truck drivers going by that I've received ghost stories that they have seen the ghost of the airman, the ghost that's seen to be at Archerfield Airport, standing on the side of the road. One truck driver I interviewed experienced seeing the ghost back in the 1990s. At that time, as he passed by God's Acre Cemetery, he saw a man dressed in a pilot's uniform with a parachute over its shoulder. The ghost stepped out onto the road in front of his vehicle. He had a hell of a shock from it. He almost struck the man. He swerved round the figure and proceeded down Beady Road. He said to me it was one of the most frightening experiences he ever had, almost hitting a person. But the person was in fact a ghost, the ghost of the airman seen here at Archerfield Airport. There's been many other truck drivers who've also shared the story with me, and I've also seen their stories posted on local community social media, Facebook, etc. Behind me is one of the south side's most well-known urban legends, the old quarry at Archerfield. The quarry was originally used to get road base for local streets and roads around the area. In time, it filled with water and became a popular swimming hole. Tragically, a young lad died while swimming one day. The water, although it looks very inviting, is very deep and very, very cold. And after his death, a ghost story emerged that if you come here at night time, you can hear him splashing in the water. The other long-term legend associated with the quarry is that in World War II, Americans disposed of plane and machine gun parts into it. And a few years ago, back in the early 1990s, attempts were made to drain the quarry and to find out the truth. Was there really a Spitfire down at the bottom? Although the water was completely drained, nothing was found. But nearby to this, in the early 90s, when that project of draining the quarry was going on, the ghost of that airman was seen by one of the people working on that project. A local group of enthusiasts were draining the water from the quarry way back around 1993, 1994. One gentleman that was part of the group arrived to discover a group of his fellow volunteers all standing around looking at an old photo album. In the photo album were pictures of various pilots way back in the 1940s, 50s. The volunteer overheard one chap say, "I saw him the other night." "Well, you couldn't have," said another person. "This guy died. The aircraft literally flew straight into the ground, a vertical dive." The man said that he'd actually seen this chap walking towards him, wearing all this old-fashioned flight gear, and over his shoulder was slung a parachute. So who is the ghost? The truth is, we really don't know. Archerfield Airport has been the site of many serious accidents over the years. On Christmas Eve 1930, a RAF pilot, Dudley Percy Davidson, was tragically killed in a terrible accident. Dudley's body was buried in God's Acre cemetery, although for many, many years there was a dispute over whether or not that story was true. His parents had actually organised for their son to be buried close to where he died, and to this day he remains at rest in the cemetery. But some people speculate that he may be the ghost. In May 1941, another terrible tragedy took place. 2 senior RAF officers were killed instantly when their civilian plane crashed and burst into flames just near the Archerfield Airdrome. They were Squadron Leader Roy Cecil Phillips, he was 45, married of Toowoomba, and Flight Lieutenant John William F. Collins, married of Beaudesert. He was related to the famous Collins family. In March 1942, there was another tragedy. Kitty Hawk pilot Officer C.R. Shepherd tried to bail out but had insufficient height for his parachute to open. The aircraft was completely wrecked. Some people speculate that because the ghost is seen sometimes with a parachute, that the ghost may in fact be Pilot Shepherd. The truth is that there may be more than one ghost, and the ghost of Archerfield Airport is actually separate spirits. No one really knows, but one of the things you can do for yourself is come and stand on Beady Road late at night and see if the ghost of Archerfield Airport approaches you in the dark.